Hi, hi. I took the generator off. I checked the wires from the voltage regulator down to the generator and from the battery to the voltage regulator, and they're all good. So I took the alternator or generator off, um, and I adjusted this thing a little tiny bit and got the door to actually close. So kind of pleased because it was right at the edge of the adjustment. I had to kind of tap it, and I got it um, good, and the door gaps are perfect. So anyway, everything's good except for the generator doesn't charge. So I took it off and put the this thing continuity tester on it, and so anyway, what's happening is the the two posts on it are grounding to the case, like here and here. Both of them are in common with the case, and all the Bakelite or whatever, the plastic around the edge, all looks good. I have not taken it apart, and in here all looks good. Last fall when I put the motor in, this bearing was gone, so I pulled it apart and I put a new bearing in it, and I cleaned up with like a sharp little careful knife the little grooves in here on the armature, without scratching anything, and everything looked good, and I put it back together. But no sir, it doesn't charge, and that's in common with the case, and they're in common with each other. It's grounded out. So any suggestions on that? I really don't know too much about it, and I'm not sure how to hook up an alternator. This bolts right in, but it doesn't work, and it's a fortune to have one sent here from the States. So this is just a quick video to update, say hello. It's not a production video because I'm at a standstill. Unless I fabricate a gas tank or something, I don't feel like doing upholstery work just yet. And anyway, and this thing, I've been bleeding the air out of it ever since I first started running it. I run it maybe 100 miles, and it's dripping antifreeze out the overflow pipe because it doesn't have an overflow tank. This is supposed to be full down 6 centimeters, roughly where that line is, and that's where I keep it. But expansion tank, I guess it's called. So anyway, I drive out in the country. It runs at 190, and if I stop any amount of time at all, it's very quickly gets up to 195 to 200. And if I turn off the motor and look, it's dripping antifreeze. So I grabbed my wrenches and my rags, and there's a bleeder. Where is it? Right at the end of my finger. Right there, there's a 1/2 inch bolt. That's the bleeder. Yeah, there it is. And then there's one on the radiator. So I open it up and it's foam for like 5 minutes, and then it's antifreeze, and I tighten it up, and I do the same with the front. And then I keep driving, come home, and before I drive too far, I check this, and I keep it at the halfway mark. But there's no leaks anywhere. The heater is on, it won't turn off, so it's getting lots of circulation. But I've driven the car 4,500 miles now in 3 years, and I've bled the air out of it at least 40 times. So, and there's no leaks anywhere. It's not dripping. So I believe it's a head gasket. So now here's my issue. When I start it, there's no steam, like no puff of steam. It doesn't smoke when it starts up. It's smooth. Like there's no steam. So that, to my understanding, when the motor's turned off, the antifreeze would leak in around a piston through a hole, and then, or two, and then like one hole, but maybe two pistons. So anyway, then I'd start it and there'd be a puff of steam because of the water. Well, I've never seen a puff of steam, so I don't think it's a very big hole. It's just when I drive like 100 miles, it's pumped up enough air from the piston is acting like an air pump, and it's pumping air right into the antifreeze and foaming my antifreeze. And then when I stop, it quickly goes up in temperature, but I've never let the car run over 200 degrees. So it's nowhere near, it's never been overheated, and I stay out of towns. And I don't live in Texas, like it's cold here most of the time. So anyway, my concern now that I am convinced it's the head gaskets, I'm scared to drive it. So I could probably drive it a little bit, providing I don't maybe rev it up too high, but that hole where the compression is going out through I've been told could run that cylinder hot, and where the rings don't get overly lubricated, plus maybe a dose of antifreeze and waters in sitting, it might scuff the piston. And I don't really want that to happen. And the other problem is if I'm out driving and that gasket decides to blow out a little bit more, she's going to uh, uh, blow a lot of air into the system, and I won't even be able to drive it home. So it I don't think it's really changing. I think it's just a small hole, and it isn't getting any bigger. It's consistent because the car, every 100 miles or so, I'm bleeding air out of it. So I might be safe driving it for another few drives before I park it for the winter and take it all apart. But at the same time, now that I'm convinced it is the head gasket, I'm kind of scared to drive it because I don't have to worry about it overheating because I keep an eye on the gauge, and I don't drive in around traffic or towns. I stay out in the country where I'm moving right along. So I don't know. What do you think? But I don't it's a hell of a job to fix. I kind of at the same, basically I almost need a hoist, but I have to put my car back in the shop and jack it up to the ceiling as I go and unhook things and drop the motor and the whole back end of the frame right out and drop the motor out from underneath the car. And it's a good time to put new timing belts on it, new head gaskets, and do a clutch job. So it's quite a little procedure. I wasn't really going to work on it this winter. I wanted to finish the Oldsmobile and put my Studebaker motor together. So it's kind of well, it is what it is. We can complain, but it doesn't do us any good. But anyway, all fun and games. But I guess I'll have things to show when I have the car all apart and take it off. I guess the heads come off a little hard. They get stuck on the bolts, corrosion or whatever, get down around the studs. But anyway, see you guys later. Yep. Well, as I said, it's not really an overly productive day here. But anyway, plan on being a little busier as soon as I figure out on what. See you later.